This Rove R2 4K Pro dash camera promises features of cameras double or triple the price. But how good is it? Let's see what comes in the box, check out its features, and then test the video quality during the day and night. We're gonna focus on the camera itself, but in case you want to hardwire it into the car permanently, well, semi-permanently, you can get one of these hardwire kits. I might do this in another video if I decide to keep this camera in my car permanently. Today though, we want to make sure it's actually the quality that they promise it will be, and do make sure you get the good quality Class 10 ultra high speed 3 micro SD card, otherwise you might not have such good luck with the 4K footage. Probably at least 120 gigs since this is 4K, so it's gonna take some space, and this will hold data for quite a few days. Anyway, back to this box, we can look into some of the features they're advertising on the front here. So they have a custom designed beautiful software. Okay, so I assume the software on the camera and the app, because they definitely promote the app on here a lot, so I hope it's pretty good. We can do remote firmware updates, so over the air. That's very nice, and most other cameras you have to plug it into a computer or do some other weird things, so that should be nice to see. We have voice guidance. Okay, we have 2.4 IPS display, dual band 5 and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so that's good for connecting to your phone. Hopefully we have fast transfers between the camera and the phone. Built-in GPS, that's awesome. So it looks like the GPS is going to be in here. You don't have to have extra wires and ugly things like that around the camera. Should be pretty simple. We have 150-degree viewing angle, so that's great. It's going to capture as much image in front of the camera as possible, and it has a G sensor, of course, for storing those clips that might be important. On the side here, we have a few extra features. We have loop recording, that's pretty standard. True WDR, so that's going to be the wide dynamic range. Really good for when you're facing the sun and in very bright situations. You're going to have better quality, usually. Have motion detection if you're going to do the 24-hour parking monitor using one of those kits. They also mentioned night vision, and I'm hoping for a very good implementation as they're using the Sony Starvis IMX335 sensor, which is a pretty good CMOS sensor. It's also f1.5 aperture, so that's going to allow a lot more light to come into the sensor and hopefully capture a very good image. A few more features listed on the back here, but I don't know if there's that much to mention. I do wish I got the CPL filter. I didn't, but I might get that in the future if there is a lot of reflection and things like that. But anyway, let's open it up and see what we get. Pretty cool presentation. The first thing you see in the box is a very nice thick manual, and all of this is English, so there is a lot of stuff described in here. Obviously it's printed on very nice color paper and everything else, so you can see they're putting some effort into this and not just giving you a little link to a PDF to read. Here's all the specs, so we can see that this records at 4K at 30 frames per second, or you can do 2K at 30 or 60 frames per second. So that's very good to see that it should be a higher frame rate and not just 15 or 20 or 25 that I've seen before. It is using the super capacitor, so you can leave it in very cold climates and not worry about it. You have everything else listed here as well, so definitely check it out in case you are new to cameras. And they also mentioned the customer support, and looks like this is a US number, so I checked that out, and this company is actually here in the Chicago area, so pretty cool to see. Of course, it's still assembled in China, but most things are. But support should be much better since you are talking to people here locally. We have a warning about the micro SD card, as I mentioned earlier. We have a 1-year warranty. We got a lot of different accessories, so let's see what those are. All right, so we have some wet wipes to clean up the area before attaching any of these adapters. And we have a couple of different brackets. We have a adhesive kind, so that just sticks to your windshield. We also have the suction cup. I like these a lot, so you can easily move the camera around if you put it in the wrong spot or something like that. We have a trim removal tool for guiding the wire. And we have, of course, the wire itself. So we have a USB Type-C. It looks like there's 2 different lengths. That's awesome. And we have the adapter as well. Oh, and we also have these electrostatic films, so you can just stick this to your windshield. It's gonna stick there, and then you can, put the adhesive on it without ruining your glass. Pretty cool to see. We also have an extra adhesive pad and some wire routing clips to make sure your wire doesn't dangle from the top of the windshield. Anyway, let's look at the camera itself. So we're gonna take that out. Okay. Check it out. It seems to be very good quality. It feels nice in the hand. We have the GPS here at the top, and that's where that stand right here, the bracket's gonna slide into. We have TV out, so it's probably gonna be like AV out in case you wanna connect it to something else. We have USB Type-C on the side here for power. Micro SD card right there. They mentioned the speed again, must be very important. We have the little lens cover. Let's get that removed. There it is. Here's the lens. Looks pretty good. All right. Get that removed. Should be a pretty good screen as well. We have a few buttons here at the bottom for ease of navigation. But anyway, let's go get this installed in the car and see what kind of footage it can take. Because honestly, that's the most important thing that we're looking for. And of course, ease of usability. Speaking of ease of usability, installing this camera is very simple thanks to the suction cup. I chose to put it behind the rear view mirror to make sure it isn't in my view when I'm driving. This suction cup has a locking mechanism that ensures it stays firmly attached to the glass and won't fall off during a hot day on a rough road. With the microSD card already inserted, the USB Type-C power cable can be plugged in. The only thing left to do now is to format the microSD card and set the date and time. At this point, the dashcam is ready and starts recording, and for most people, it can be just left at that. But of course, there are many options that can be adjusted. First setting I suggest changing if you have a larger memory card installed is the resolution. We want as much quality out of the video as possible, so let's switch it to 4K at 30 frames per second. There are many other options to adjust, so I won't go into each one, but notice how this menu gives you a description for each item. That way you are not guessing what each one is. Very helpful. You can of course change the loop recording from 1 to 3 minutes or turn it off completely. Change the G sensor sensitivity to make sure the camera catches all events and doesn't overwrite them. You can turn on or off the wide dynamic range and adjust the exposure, which helps get as much detail in the video as possible. Lots of other options to adjust on this camera, but I'll let you explore those on your own, as this dash camera has more options that I have ever seen on almost any other camera. I can see why they're so proud of their software. It's easy to use and offers lots of information and granular adjustments. Now let's talk about video quality. After all, it doesn't matter how nice the camera is to use if it captures unusable footage. Luckily in this case, we can see that the video quality during the day is clear, crisp, and most importantly smooth, which makes it that much easier to read license plates and street signs while driving at higher speeds. One thing I wanted to check is how well does the microphone pick up sound. So I'm just sitting in the car here driving like I normally would, and we want to see if the microphone's any good. In case you have an emergency, it might help you having some good quality audio come through on the video. The 150-degree field of view captures a lot of information in every frame, and we can see that the WDR deals with the very bright sun well. The sky isn't blown out and the contrast is there between different parts of the road and the surroundings. The night footage is what I have been excited about though. Most cameras struggle to capture much information at night, but fortunately the Rove R2 4K Pro, don't forget the Pro, does a great job. Even on streets where the only source of light is my car's headlights, we can easily identify items and read street signs, and in most cases even capture the license plates. In a few cases I noticed that the license plates can be blown out a little bit and hard to read, but it looks like it's caused by the reflection from my headlights. Overall, I think this camera captures great footage during the night, most likely thanks to the 1.5 aperture and few other specs that are better than its predecessor. To be very clear, the dash camera in this video is the Pro version. There is an older version of this camera called Rove R2 4K without the Pro. They are not the same. This camera has a faster processor and is capable of lower aperture, which is good for low light scenarios. The sale price of the Pro version is currently less than the non-Pro version. Most likely the price will go up in the future, but it's a great buy right now and would still be a good buy at full price. One last thing I wanted to talk about is the app. After downloading it and connecting your phone to the camera via Wi-Fi, it automatically finds the camera and starts showing the live feed. If it isn't working for you right away, you may need to turn off your cellular data. Here we can start and stop recording or change the modes, as well as adjust all of the settings we saw in the camera's menu. It's a little easier on the app if this is the interface you are used to. The most useful thing we can do here though is download the clips directly to your phone. It takes about 30 seconds to download a 1-minute clip, and sadly there is no option to download all of the clips or multiple clips at the same time, but it works. You can also just stream the clips to your phone and then it will include the map location below the video for you. Overall, a stable and useful app. In conclusion, I am very impressed with this camera's features, especially at this price. Are there any negatives? Well, I couldn't find many, but I guess if I had to be picky, I would ask for a slimmer design and profile so that I could sit closer to the glass and maybe more hidden behind my rearview mirror. Although I'm not sure if that would affect the quality of the video. What do you think of the features and the video quality of this camera? Leave your comments down below, like the video if you found it useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!